Here's going to be a review for the re-release of Coraline. I saw the movie this past Tuesday in 3D as part of the film's 15th anniversary 3D re-release in theaters. It should be noted that I did actually see Coraline when it originally released in theaters February of 2009. Also saw it in 3D too. Now, what got me to see this re-release? Well, for one, my apartment was hot as shit, so I needed some nice movie theater air conditioning. And two, I just wanted to get a first-hand look at the massive cult following this movie has gotten over the years. You know, this re-release did $8 million over the weekend, which is fantastic for a re-release. And seeing how packed the auditorium was that I was in was definitely in line with the cult following this movie has gotten over the years. It's a similar trajectory to another stop-motion classic in The Nightmare Before Christmas. You have your little stop-motion film that comes out and does okay at the box office. But as the years go on, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Nightmare Before Christmas had the advantage of being able to capitalize on repeat viewings during the Halloween season and the Christmas season. Coraline had to work a lot harder for its cult status, especially given how stop-motion animation is a dying art form in cinemas these days. Mainly because those movies just don't bring a whole lot of great returns at the box office, even if they do end up being great films. I think a combo factor in Coraline's popularity is how it combines two of Hot Topic's most valuable commodities in The Nightmare Before Christmas and Alice in Wonderland. It's got the visual stylization of The Nightmare Before Christmas, plus the obvious story parallels to Alice in Wonderland. In speaking of the story, the film follows a young girl named Coraline Jones who has recently moved to a house on the hillside and has parents who aren't exactly the life of the party. You know, even though they're home all the time, they're just constantly working on their jobs on their computers. Her misery eventually leads her to a world through a wall cabinet door where everything, including her parents, are great. But eventually a bunch of creepy stuff takes over and makes the situation all around uncomfortable, and Coraline realizes, uh-oh, I better get the f*** out of here. Maybe I had just forgotten, but it was only while watching the opening credits for this film that I realized or remembered that this film was based on a book, The Story. I've obviously never read that book, so I can't really comment on any accuracy to the original source material. A major advantage this would have over the book, though, is its visuals. Any competent stop motion just looks like pure artistry on the screen. This film was directed by Henry Selick, the same director of The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's right, it wasn't Tim Burton that directed that film. But anyways, the film looks sensational. It's that sharp, fluid stop motion that's done for all Leica studio films. And you combine that with some very odd yet effective character design and you get something that just works all around. Coraline is probably the most normal looking of all the characters, but even with her, there's that weirdness when it comes to the crookedness of her nose and the blue hair, and you just end up having a memorable looking character. Dakota Fanning's voice, this was a young Dakota Fanning, was just perfect for the character, and it's hard to imagine Coraline with a different voice after seeing the film. I think a major part in the effectiveness of the story here is because of Coraline herself and how you completely relate to what she's going through. You see her life, and yeah, as a kid, it wouldn't really be fun to experience with her parents and just the house and just everything that's going on around her. So you definitely feel happy for her when she sees the perfect version of her world on the other side of the cabinet door. In general, a lot of stop-motion films are more maturely written than your average CG animated film these days. But what makes this movie stand out amongst all animated films in the modern era is its horror element. When the true nature of Coraline's perfect world gets revealed, you just get a haunting atmosphere and visuals through the rest of the film. Scene after scene, the film just delivers on great scares while keeping the necessary element of danger and urgency as Coraline has to fight to save herself and her loved ones. All the stuff with Coraline's other mother were just bone-chilling creepy, especially when things fully escalate towards the end. It's not just the stuff with the mother though. The scene where the ghost children show themselves for the first time is pretty damn haunting. Those buttons in the eyes, man, is that creepy. This re-release also made pretty killer use of 3D. I saw the original 2009 release in 3D and I remember it being pretty damn impressive. You can tell it was a film that was made for 3D with how crisp and sharp it looked, and that carried over to this remastered re-release where I wouldn't doubt they made some improvements. It looked great. It is a long film though by stop motion standards, an hour and 55 minutes, but since you're getting a quality overall experience, that runtime was more than welcome. So this is a movie that's definitely earned its cult status. It offers a combination of things you just don't see in a lot of modern films. That's of course real spooks and scares for a kids film, and of course stop motion, which obviously isn't in abundance these days. The overall package is a great classic experience, so 9.5 out of 10 buttons for Coraline. I suspect this film will be like Nightmare Before Christmas, as it will only continue to get bigger and bigger as the years go on. It did make me finally want to check out another Leica Studios film that I hadn't seen before in Paranorman, which I've also heard good things about. It did make me reflect that, wow, I've seen a bunch of re-releases over the last year, but I guess if they're going to put out quality stuff that I want to see, I guess I'll pay to see it. So that'll do it for this review of the re-release of Coraline. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.